Jackie with a Q. Today, the Q stands for queer. It almost always stands for queer, but it stands for queer especially today, because it's coming out day. Oh, this is important no matter if you're queer or het or cishet or questioning or anything in your life. Water. Drink water, bitch. Happy National Coming Out Day. My energy levels are very low because it's 10:30 at night and I've been awake for far too long. Today, I wanted to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, or should I say near and queer to my heart. Because today is October 11th, which is National Coming Out Day. Also, yesterday, October 10th, was National Mental Health Day, and it was also the day of the PSAT. And I am not in high school, but apparently a lot of my followers on Tumblr are the people, my mutuals. So yeah, to those of y'all who are watching, I hope you did wonderfully. Keep making those spicy memes. I support you. And I'm so sorry that it was on National Mental Health Day, but it's one of those things where the phrase disappointed but not surprised comes into play. For those of you who cannot come out, we still love and support you. Be strong. I know it's really hard to not feel like, you know, for whatever reason, if you're refusing to come out because of like family, you know, or like they won't support you. I know what that's like, and I'm really sorry you're in that position, but stay strong, because eventually you will find a group that loves and respects you and supports you for who you are. Here's the thing about my sexuality and my gender. I have no idea what the fuck they are. We can get gender out of the way. I am on the non-binary spectrum somewhere. For the majority of the time that I have not identified as heterosexual, I have identified as pansexual, kind of strayed away from pansexual, like that label, because there have been times when I'm like, I don't feel like I am attracted to anyone, and so, you know, I'm still questioning, I'm still figuring things out. And one of the biggest points of this video that I wanted to say was just that if you are questioning and you don't know who you are yet, if you don't know, you know, how you identify yet, that is totally 150,000% fine. Because I am going to be 20 years old this November, and I have no idea who the hell I am. There's still a lot that I haven't figured out, and that's okay. I mean, I know that there is a lot of societal pressure to know who you are by the time you're 18 so you can go to college so that you can get a job. But fuck that. Fuck society. I guess I can tell the story of, the two stories of how I came out. So I came out as pansexual when I was 16. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but like, I think I always kind of knew that I liked women, because I distinctly remember one time when I was like 4 and my mom and I were in Hy-Vee. It's like a chain grocery store, but one of the nicer ones. Anyway, we were at the grocery store and I saw like 2 women, you know, walking by, and they were like clearly together. I don't remember if they were holding hands or something, but I was like, I knew something was up, right? And so I'm like, hey mom, what's going on there? And then she said, well, sweetie, she said, you know, sometimes women want to be with other women and women marry other women. And little 4-year-old Jackie was like, let me get on that. I was like, I'm gonna do that when I get older. And then I just completely forgot about that whole encounter until I was 16 and fell in love. They were my first love, and I was like, I am not heterosexual, so that's fun. And then I don't even remember when I told my mom. I think it just kind of was like, I like this person, mom. You know, I'm not straight, mom. She was mostly cool with it, but I remember specifically, I have a lot of right-leaning relatives, and on my Facebook they were all posting about the Supreme Court, because this was when the Supreme Court was still trying to, it was like same-sex marriage, you know, whether they, what was it, they wanted to make it legal in all 50 states. I still don't remember what exactly it was, but someone was trying to block, and it was a whole Supreme Court, it was like a whole Congress thing. Like, everyone was like freaking out about it on the internet, and I got so mad because here are my relatives who claim to love me, who are like, God doesn't want this to happen. And then so I posted, I'm like, listen guys, I'm pansexual, and if I want to marry a woman, I should have the right to, just as if I want to marry a man, I have the right to marry a man. Like, I will fight tooth and nail for this, and you're going to have to rip this from my cold dead corpse, you know? I didn't phrase it exactly like that, but it was about the same message. So yeah, I came out on Facebook out of spite, and actually I came out on Tumblr as non-binary for the exact same reason. So I came out on Tumblr last spring, but there was this Tumblr account that basically, they were claiming that like, that non-binary wasn't a thing, that if you identified as non-binary, then you were stupid, and they were like making threats, and they were just being like really horrible about it. And then a few of my mutuals started like reblogging their stuff, and I didn't know this at the time, but they were reblogging it to like shoot back a response, like they were fighting against it, but I thought that they were like agreeing with them. It was like, what the hell? I thought you guys were not horrible. And I didn't want to like call them out or anything, because it was like, not really worth my time. So I just made a post that was like, there's some blogs going out there, you know, some blogs saying some horrible things about non-binary people, like that they don't even exist. And I said something like, that's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard, because if non-binary people didn't exist, I wouldn't be here. And that was how I came out on Tumblr. And then someone sent me an ask, and they were like, you're non-binary? How come I didn't know this? And it's like, well, it's because this is the first I've ever told anyone of it. Anyway, I want to really hammer home that you do matter, and that you are important, and that it is okay if you don't know things about yourself, because the beauty of life is that you can spend it figuring things out about yourself. Like, the only person that has to live with you 24/7 is you. So that gives you a lot of time for exploration, like self-exploration. You are not insignificant. Okay, and whoever thinks you are is just incorrect. I don't know how else to tell you. I don't know how else to put it. Like, they're incorrect, because you have probably touched the lives of so many people that you don't even know it. You know, you were probably at some point somebody's saving grace. You know, you were the kind stranger that made them laugh on their shittiest day. I am going to bid you a good night, because I have a Spanish exam tomorrow and a chemistry quiz tomorrow, and I can't afford to mess either of them up. So, good night. I love you guys. Y'all matter to me. Y'all matter to other people, and positive. If the problem you're currently facing is not something that you'll be worrying about in 4 months, stop stressing about it so much. Have a good night. Pedophiles? You are not members of the LGBTQ community. You are not welcome in the LGBTQ community. You are not welcome on this planet. You are not welcome in this galaxy. You are not welcome in this universe. Don't try to include yourselves with us because you're horrible people. You're disgusting. Stop trying to excuse yourself. Stop trying to justify. Because you're just sick, okay? So pedophiles do not belong in the LGBTQ community. You don't get to celebrate coming out day. You get to celebrate going into prison day. I have been thinking about that for a while.